Hey everybody, welcome back to this next edition to the Concert Memories series that we've kind of recently started up. Of course, this will be the third entry thus far. We've taken a look at Brit Floyd, my very first concert. We've taken a look at Generation X, my second concert. Both of those, how I kind of mentioned before, were, I was seated in an area. This next one was my first true experience of being up in the crowd, up in the pit area. And of course, if you're looking at the title, we're talking about this big triple header of a show: Alice in Chains, Breaking Benjamin, and Bush. And man, what a show! I saw this up in the Amp up in Rogers, Arkansas, and which is not a far drive from me. It's actually my hometown where I was born and lived for like what 12 years, something like that. Before moving away and everything. But yeah, very, very awesome show. So let's just dive right into this. The show opened. There was some opening act. I can't remember who they were. It was like this all female group. They were pretty cool sounding and everything. Golly, I can't remember what they were called though. But they were all right. It was a cool, especially after standing out in the heat, because it's like an outdoor venue and you're under kind of like a big tent type deal. And again, I'm up in the pit, but we got in. We were up in it pretty early, so like we were there a while, right? And we weren't like right in the very front, but we were pretty close to it. You like close enough to where, like, let's say there are rows, right? Then we'd probably be like 3 rows of people back. We were really like right up in it. And again, that band was a pretty cool show. I wish I could remember the name of them. It's not a band that I've really, seeked out or anything, but they were pretty cool, and we were all just excited to see somebody play, after standing out in that heat for a little while, because this was during the fall, but it was just really hot. But so then Bush comes on, and man, I was pumped for this. Bush is an awesome band. Gavin Rossdale, hell of a vocalist, and man, he was just in it. He was all, interactive with the crowd, just really in it. To when he jumped out in the crowd at one point, and they played, the iconic Bush tracks that we know, Glycerine, Machine Head, Come Down, you name it. He even played a song or two off, at the time, what their upcoming album was. And I've not listened to that album yet. I probably should, but especially I probably should have once it came out, since I got a little sneak preview of a couple of the songs, but they were really good. But they put on a hell of a show. And it was just really cool seeing a band, like that, that up close and everything. And, the crowd, we're all jumping, having a good time and everything on there, and singing along to the songs. Just an absolute blast. Then Breaking Benjamin come on, and I'm not like the biggest fan of them ever or anything. Really, I've not even listened to a full album of theirs all the way through, but I've listened to many, many songs from them, mainly when I was like a teenager or whatever, right? And in like junior high and all that. So I know a good chunk of their catalog, and so this I had a lot of fun with them. I mean, I was here for Alice, right? But Breaking Benjamin, they had quite a bit of a lengthier set. They had the pyro going off, like you could feel the heat coming off, the flames coming out and everything. And I mean, man, they just played some awesome stuff. They played Firefly. They played Blow Me Away. I mean, Diary of Jane, of course, gets played. There's Follow You, probably my favorite song by them. Polyamorous, I believe they played. I can't remember 100% if they played that one or not, but I think they did. And they had a hell of a set list. And talk about crowd engagement. Their lead singer, Ben. Lord, again, I seem like I'm forgetting a bunch of stuff, but these are bands like Breaking Benjamin's not one I'm like into, right? I just knew a chunk of their catalog, but and I'm forgetting his last name, but and he had a hell of a voice, sounded just like the studio, and he was doing the growls and everything up there during some of the tracks. It was awesome. And he even signed a record that people that a fan had passed up through the crowd and gave it back to him. So really cool, really humble guy, and he was getting everybody fired up. He was like, "Man, you guys, here in Arkansas, y'all really know how to get down." Like he was just really riling everybody up, and we were just getting that much more hype. And then when Alice in Chains finally came out, that did it, for me. Oh my gosh, and this was in 2022. And obviously I wasn't. Unfortunately, I wasn't old enough to. I'm not old enough to have seen Layne live, right? I mean, I was born in '98, so he was still alive, but he wasn't, playing with the band or anything by this point. But that would be like a time capsule or a time travel concert for me to go back and see Alice in Chains with Layne. But you know what? You guys have seen my reviews and rankings on here. I love the William Duvall era and stuff, and I think William is, as crazy as it sounds, he's been in the band longer than Layne at this point, and he has great chemistry, an incredible voice that really fits the band. The harmonies with Jerry fit really well. But yeah, they came out here and opened it with freaking Stone, man. That monster riff, oh man, it blasted through, and we all the crowd started going wild. Loved hearing that get played. Some of their more modern material get played, not just kind of the typical stuff. I mean, they played Them Bones, of course. Wood got played, and again, even William, he does the songs that Layne sang on justice. He does. He's not trying to just mimic Layne's voice. He does, however, match like the harmonies very well with Jerry, to where you still get a little bit of that hint of Layne in there that you can kind of hear sometimes, just like on the albums, right? And I guess a lot of that has to do with the mixing and again, just their vocal harmonies. But yeah, so when he sang stuff like Wood and all that, that was awesome. And one that really got me pumped, they started playing some Three-Legged Dog stuff, which is some material that kind of gets overlooked a lot of times by people. Like they started playing Again. And it was Again whenever the crowd really started going crazy. We were all jumping and you started seeing people from even way back, maybe some people who weren't even like in the pit yet, started moving along down it, and things just started going crazy, right? I'm not really a big mosh pit guy, which is kind of, I'm sure it's kind of surprising considering, I'm wearing a Cannibal Corpse shirt, right? But, for me, I love to headbang and all that stuff in there, but like as far as the whole moshing, just kind of shoving people around for no reason or whatever, not really into that. I'm trying to listen to music and just have a good time, not looking to get like my nose broke or nothing. However, I've been pretty much right up in some mosh pits before, which that's a different concert story for a different day. But and plus I had my girlfriend here with me too, so I didn't really want to be, getting shoved around, potentially getting shoved around, all that. But Again is when the crowd really started going crazy. Then Sludge Factory, man, to use a wrestling term here, I'm marked out for Sludge Factory getting played. One of my favorite Alice songs ever, one of their heaviest songs ever. And just that thick riff goes on, and man, the guys just freaking nailed it, right? I mean, that was one of the big major highlights for me. They played Damn That River. They played Rooster, of course, which is probably their most overplayed song these days. Still a good song, of course, but then a really cool kind of shout out to Layne was whenever they kind of dimmed the lights a little bit, got the acoustics out there, and Jerry and the gang that they played Nutshell and said that this goes out to our lost friend, and had kind of we all lighters up or phones up, whatever, and it was just a really cool experience. You could really feel the energy there for that, and the just a really good tribute to Layne, singing that song and kind of dedicate that out to him. They played Hollow, which was amazing. I loved them playing Hollow. That was another one that I was like, yes, then they played The One off of Rainier Fog. I believe that may have been the only Rainier Fog one off or no, so they played So Far Under too, I believe, and that yeah, and so they really dabbled into the catalog and played a lot of different stuff. Of course, Man in the Box got played. Love that. That was really cool hearing William belt that out. And It Ain't Like That was played. That the crowd really went wild for that one. Kind of reminded me of the the movie Singles when Alice in Chains are up in there playing that, and it kind of made me think of that. I'm like, man, I'm actually here seeing them play this song right now. So that was really cool as well. And man, I'm just telling you that was just straight up. That was my favorite concert I've ever been to. It'll be hard to top it. Even I had some Jerry Cantrell guitar picks. I should have pulled one out or whatever, but the show. But my girlfriend kept catching them. She just was like, "Whoa, here's one here, here's one here." Which I had my brother with me, so she gave one to him, one to me. She kept one. And then she caught some more, so she just started handing them out to the people nearby, right? Because somebody was like, "Oh man, I didn't get one." Then she's like, "Hey, we have some spare ones here." So that is an awesome, piece of memorabilia that I'll cherish forever. Especially, just the memories of that. That's the beautiful thing about concerts is they're memories that you're making, highlights in your life that you'll never forget. And just the energy you feel, the excitement, you forget about all your daily life problems and all that while you're there in the show, just enjoying the music, enjoying the camaraderie with all the fans out there, and just having a good time. You just forget about all the outside noise from the world for a little bit. So that's just the beauty of going to concerts, and I truly felt that at that concert probably more than any other one I've been to. And I've been to some more awesome ones. Don't get me wrong, we'll get there in this series. But this one, I gotta say, it was always on my bucket list. I gotta see Alice in Chains, as big of a fan as I am of them. And I got to do that, and I would love to see him again. I'd love to see Jerry on his solo tour. I almost caught him. He was in Little Rock, but it was just kind of in the middle of the week, so I was working and everything. But this show is by far my favorite concert I've ever been to. Well, I say by far. It is my favorite concert I've ever been to, but there's some things that come pretty close that we'll get to, which I'm excited to talk about when we do. And that who's to say they could always be topped by some other later on. But I mean, I just know this one. It was the first. I had been to those other two concerts, which were awesome in their own right. Especially seeing Steve Vai, Yngwie, and all them shred. But this was my first concert experience of being up in the crowd, being up in the pit area, and after that experience, I was like, I never want to be seated again. I'm like, I always want to be up in it from now on, because that was so much fun. Does it get hot? Does it get sweaty in there? You get thirsty, not wanting to leave your spot for water. But man, it's all worth it. It's just you just make those memories. And see, I don't really, some people are trying to record and all this, try to record the whole experience, or, take photos and stuff. Me, I might take a photo or two, sometimes really not even. And I'm just there. I'm using my eyes. That's the camera for me. I'm experiencing it. There's always some people who kind of have their phones and they're just wanting to record the whole thing, and they're viewing it through the lens of their phone. They're not viewing it with their own eyes. And that always, to each their own. People can do that if they want. But just my kind of philosophy on it is, hey, I would rather experience it right here and now. I don't got to record it to show other people. I was there and I can live to tell the experience, But that's kind of my philosophy on that. I know we kind of got off topic there for a second, but about concert etiquette or whatever. But this show just really encapsulates the true concert experience for me, and it was just such a blast. Man, it's going to be hard to top this one. This is one I'll never forget. Seeing one of my favorite bands that up close, and they played some of their best material, or even again digging out stuff from Three-Legged Dog and some of that stuff that I was maybe thinking they might not would play. They did. So incredible show. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Have you seen Alice in Chains? Have you seen them with William? Have you seen them with Lane, or both? I would love to hear some stories about that. I know my uncle saw them with Lane back in '92 on the No More Tours tour with Ozzy and Blind Melon, which that show had to be incredible. You know, that would be like a, hey, take me to that tour, you know, if you get me in a time machine. But I'd love to hear some of your guys' stories. You've been, seen Alice before as well, and how your guys' experience were with them. And maybe, you know, if you were a fan of the set list, did they kind of shake it up a little bit, kind of like they did at this concert that I was at. So, and, you know, and also, too, this will be my third concert. Y'all can throw down, you know, what your third concert was, which I've really enjoyed reading about. Some of your guys' comments about your first concert, second concerts, most recent ones, whatever y'all want to throw down there. It's super fun hearing your guys' stories about that. And that's another cool thing about it. We all have these unique stories to tell about these concerts and these experiences we've been to. So love hearing about that stuff. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe, comment, stay tuned. Probably tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow we're going to go ahead and drop that next Megadeth album review for United Abomination. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys.